Alright, good evening ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Compound Interesting and welcome to Shit Shirt Sundays, where I wear a shit shirt and talk about stocks. So please rate my shit shirt out of -10 right now in the comments below. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get on to today's topic, which is cryptocurrency and Bitcoin mining stocks. So why on earth would you want to invest in Bitcoin mining stocks rather than investing straight up in Bitcoin? So we're going to discuss that. We're going to compare Bitcoin mining stocks to gold mining stocks, which have some similarities and some differences. And then I'm going to talk about a few different mining stocks that you might be interested in investing. So let's get started straight away. Why would you invest into Bitcoin mining stocks rather than just straight up Bitcoin? So if you're investing in Bitcoin mining stocks, it's kind of analogous to investing in like a leveraged Bitcoin. And the reason being is because the profitability in a Bitcoin bull run for a Bitcoin mining stock increases like on a leverage scale in comparisons to Bitcoin's price. And this is the same with gold. So maybe I'll give you an example with gold. So say a gold mining company mines $1 billion worth of gold every year, and their costs of mining that gold and paying all their staff and everything is $900,000. So they make $100 million every year in profit. Okay, so what happens if the price of gold doubles? So if the price of gold doubles, now instead of making $1 billion per year, they're now making $2 billion per year, but their costs are still $900,000. So now they're making $1.1 billion. So their profitability just 11x'd and the price of gold only 2x'd. So it's kind of similar to Bitcoin. So it's somewhat similar with Bitcoin mining stocks. As the price of Bitcoin increases, the profitability of Bitcoin mining stocks increases at a faster rate, and thus the Bitcoin mining stocks, the share price, increases at a faster rate than Bitcoin itself. Alright, so now you're probably thinking, okay, why the hell would I invest in gold or invest in Bitcoin? Why wouldn't I ever just invest straight up into a Bitcoin mining stock or a gold mining stock? Well, the reason is if the price of gold halves, so say the price of gold halved, so that company that was once earning $1 billion now has the same output, has the same costs, as earning half the amount of money though. It's only earning 500 million. So now they're making a $400,000 loss. And if the price of gold stays so low for a long period of time, they can eventually go out of business. So if you invested in gold, you still have that gold, it's still worth something, but that stock now is worthless. But there are a couple of differences between Bitcoin and gold mining. So this might get a little bit technical, but I'll try and keep it as simple as possible for people who are new to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. But let's start with gold. So if the price of gold increases, the production costs for mining that gold stays the same. But if the price of gold stays elevated or it keeps going up for a long period of time, like after 6 months or a year, there's going to be more companies starting to mine gold, or current mining companies might hire more staff, might buy new tractors or new diggers or whatever, how they mine the gold, might expand, go to new places to mine gold. So the net effect is that the supply will increase. So more people will mine gold and more gold will be produced. So eventually the supply will catch up with the price and there will be an equilibrium point, because there's going to be an excess of supply now because more people have gone into the mining, because there's a lot of money to be made in mining now because of the price increase. However, with Bitcoin it's different. You can't just hire more staff, you can't just get more computing power and mine more Bitcoin. Well, you can, but the thing is, the fresh supply of Bitcoin remains relatively constant, because every 2 weeks the difficulty to mine Bitcoin adjusts in comparison to the amount of computing power that's going into mining the Bitcoin. So let me try and explain that. So the more people that mine Bitcoin, the more computer power that's going in to solve the Bitcoin equations, to verify transactions, the less Bitcoin they'll get back in return proportionally. So essentially what this means is if 900 Bitcoin are mined per day all across the world, which is about what it is actually at the moment. So 900 Bitcoin are mined per day, and then the price goes up, and then loads of miners start buying more computing equipment, and there's loads more computing power going into mining more Bitcoin. That's going to affect the difficulty to mine Bitcoin, because that's built into the program. So then after 2 weeks or after a few weeks, even though there's way more people mining Bitcoin, trying to get those Bitcoins, way more computing power going into mining those Bitcoins, still only 900 Bitcoins will be produced, and that will be spread evenly across those different miners and across that computing power. So that's one of the reasons why Bitcoin can go into these crazy bubbles, whereas gold eventually, like, it does experience bull runs, but they might not be as large as Bitcoin's. That's one of the reasons. It's because Bitcoin supply cannot adjust to the level of demand. All right, so let's have a look at some gold mining stocks, and we can see how well they've done in this recent little gold surge. So gold is like not even 2x in the last year, but gold mining stocks have done extraordinarily well. We can see one of the big gold miners, Barrick Gold. This is a big gold mining company that actually Warren Buffett invested in. We can see that's 2x, so it's not done that well really. But a smaller mine, Carrick Mines, has 8x, so we can see that really good strong return. So here we're looking at Riot blockchain, and we can see this year it's pretty much 10x this year, even though Bitcoin's price has only done like a 3 or 4x this year. And Bitcoin's price is now at an all-time high, or almost as high as it was back in 2017. However, Riot blockchain's price is lower than Riot blockchain's price was in the big run of 2017. So Riot blockchain has gone from this year $3.8 million in sale to $4.3 million in sale, and their margin has increased from 20% to 33%. So their margin is doing really well because of Bitcoin's price increase. To add to that, some of you might know or be aware of the fact that Bitcoin has this halving event every 4 years, meaning that the miners get half the amount of Bitcoin every 4 years. The reward for their mining gets cut in half every 4 years for the same amount of computing power. So that instead of getting 12 Bitcoins, what is it, 12.5 Bitcoins, now they're only getting 6.25 Bitcoins. And that happened in May. Now, some of you might be like, oh, that's terrible. They're going to be earning way less money now. And that is true for the short term. But now you also have to consider that it won't happen again for 3.5 years. So their profitability just got cut in half. And we can see this in the profitability chart over this year. So this is the profitability chart for Bitcoin miners, and you can see that drop in May. That's when the Bitcoin halving event occurred. So you can see that profitability got cut in half, but now it's starting to trend back up, and it's looking pretty healthy over the last 6 months, and particularly over the last couple of months, as Bitcoin's price has risen quite well. Now let's look at it over a longer term time period, and you can see how far we have to come to catch up with that mining or that profitability in 2017. So you can see that the profitability of Bitcoin miners absolutely explodes when Bitcoin goes into these parabolic runs. And if you believe that Bitcoin will go into another parabolic run in 2021, like a lot of people invested in Bitcoin believe, and like I believe, then we could see Bitcoin mining profitability exceed the Bitcoin mining profitability in 2017, depending on how high Bitcoin prices can go. And these Bitcoin mining stocks are likely to outperform Bitcoin. So now let's talk about some of the different mining stocks that you can invest in. So for me, the perfect mining stock would be one that is situated in a place that has cheap electricity, because cheap electricity means you can earn the max amount of profits, and also you don't have to, as the price of Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency you're mining, as it comes down, you're going to be the last person that has to turn off your miner, because the people who are paying the higher electricity costs, they have to turn off their miners first, because they're going to be the ones that become unprofitable first. As say it costs $3,000 to, or let's say it costs $10,000 to mine one Bitcoin. As the price of Bitcoin goes below $10,000 in, let's say, New York, then you're obviously not going to spend $10,000 to mine one Bitcoin that's cost $9,000. So you're going to have to switch off your miner, otherwise you're literally losing money. You're literally pissing money away. However, say you're mining you're mining up in Iceland, where you have really cheap geothermal electricity and it costs you $5,000 to mine or $6,000. Obviously you can keep on mining if the price of Bitcoin is 9,000. So that's the first thing. If you're looking at mining stocks, that's one of the first things you should look out for. Another thing you should look out for is that they don't have old mining equipment. So you want people to have fresh mining equipment. So Riot blockchain, the one I just talked about, has recently they invested like 27 million in new S19s. So they're the most recent miners, and they're obviously the most efficient and consume the least electricity and produce the most Bitcoin for that electricity. So you want people who have the latest mining equipment and not the very old mining equipment, ideally, is what is the kind of companies you're looking out for. So Riot have a deal with Bitmain to buy these miners over the next, they have an order in, and they've already received like a third of them, and they're going to be receiving the rest of them throughout 2021 during the big run. So Riot blockchain is in a good place in the fact that they'll have good miners. However, they're not situated in the best place in electricity terms. They're actually situated in New York, where there's more expensive electricity. The last thing you want to look for in a good mining stock, in my opinion, is a company that's mostly mining Bitcoin. The reason being, if you're mining Ethereum, or companies that were mining Ethereum, they were using GPUs. So people used to mine Ethereum, but now Ethereum is switching to a proof of stake network, or proof of stake method of verifying transactions. So I'm not going to explain how that works, but essentially it's not getting mined anymore. You don't mine Ethereum anymore. So those GPUs have to mine some other cryptocurrency now, which might not be as profitable as mining Ethereum. So Hive was another cryptocurrency miner that I was interested in looking at, because it was situated in Sweden and Iceland and somewhere else where they have cheap electricity, but they have a lot of Ethereum miners, or GPUs, which are actually created by, a lot of them were created by NVIDIA. So you can see actually in 2017, NVIDIA did really, really well and had a big crash in 2017 after Bitcoin crashed, or in 2018 when Bitcoin started to crash. NVIDIA crashed a lot because they were making the GPUs that were used for mining other cryptocurrencies apart from Bitcoin. That's actually when I invested in NVIDIA, and I've done extremely well from doing that. So NVIDIA is another stock if you think cryptocurrency mining could be good over the next year. And obviously NVIDIA is great for other things, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But yeah, so that's the 3 things you should be looking out for if you're wanting to invest in cryptocurrency mining. So the cheap places where you can mine Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies are China, has like probably the cheapest electricity in the world, and also places like Iceland because they have that geothermal, Sweden because they have a lot of hydroelectric power, which is also really cheap. So that's the good thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining. It doesn't have to be, it's not location dependent. So say people need electricity in a city, so power plants are often near cities so they can supply the power to the cities. However, a cryptocurrency mining facility can be anywhere in the world, so they can go exactly where the cheapest electricity is. So they can go beside geothermal or wind farms or whatever. So am I going to be investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining stocks? Not right now. I think this has enormous potential for the next year, literally a year. So, but it does come with a lot of risks. And for example, Riot blockchain has a really high price to sales multiple, but yeah, it could do extraordinarily well next year. But there's just I haven't found the perfect mining stocks that has all 3 of those characteristics yet. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this space, a really, really close eye on this space, because you could make some sick gains if you invested in the right company. Maybe just, if you're not invested, maybe invest in Bitcoin first before you start going for these Bitcoin mining stocks. If you're enjoying the video so far, I'd hugely appreciate if you could smash the thumbs up button. I forgot to say it at the start, but yeah, there we go. Subscribe if you haven't already. Mostly talk about stocks and investing in cryptocurrency, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much. Right, so other ways you can invest in cryptocurrency mining, in indirect ways. You can actually invest in the people who are making the cryptocurrency miners. So like I talked about NVIDIA, they make the best GPUs in the world. So GPUs can be used to mine certain cryptocurrencies. But you can also invest directly in Bitcoin mining companies. Unfortunately, you can't invest in Bitmain. It's a private company, but they're one of the best. They have the best supercomputers to mine Bitcoin. But a startup I saw is called Canaan, based in China. So their stock has fallen a lot since they IPO'd, and they're not really making any money yet. But it's definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on and look into more deeply, because if they do manage to make a really strong Bitcoin miner that sells well over next year, they can make a lot of money selling those. And during the last Bitcoin bull run, the prices for Bitcoin miners went absolutely through the roof because producers couldn't produce them fast enough. That's the same thing happened with NVIDIA GPUs. Secondhand GPUs were going on eBay for absolutely extortionate prices because people can make so much money mining cryptocurrencies just in their house. So secondhand GPUs went crazy. NVIDIA's profits went through the roof. Bitmain's profits went through the roof. And if that happens again, all these companies that make supercomputers are going to have enormous growth in their profits. Also, like Taiwan Semiconductor, they make GPUs as well. So if Bitcoin does, and the rest of the cryptocurrency market does moon next year like we all think it will, or I think it will, but if that happens, there will not be enough supply for the amount of people who want those computers and who want those GPUs. So the prices of them are going to skyrocket, and those companies can charge more and more and more every single month for the same hardware that they're producing. So just keep that in mind. There's so many ways you can invest in cryptocurrency without investing directly in cryptocurrency and make enormous returns. But you have to remember, this is much, much riskier than actually investing in the underlying asset. Like, these companies can go to zero a lot faster than Bitcoin can go to zero, and Bitcoin can be extraordinarily volatile. So you need to play these. If you're investing in these, make sure you're really, really well researched on these mining stocks or on these computer builders. Don't get too greedy with these. Try and sell nice and early, because I don't want you guys making all this gains and then not cashing out at the right time. Because when Bitcoin falls, and it will fall a lot after the next run, then these mining stocks and the other stocks that I was talking about, they will probably fall further. All right, so that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Cheers.